Okay. So I want to have a conversation because I posted, I did this post. Let me go back to exactly what it said. Um, oh, I think it was one along the lines of when your baby daddy. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. So I posted this post on socials. That is this woman. Here, I'll show it to you. Right. So, point of view, he doesn't think he should have to pay for
Yes.
childcare because his
Some
fiance.
people were pissed about that. Yes.
Yeah, which is why I thought let's have a conversation about this for socials because, and a lot of the comments were like, you know, where was dad works, I'm a stay-at-home mom, dad pays daycare for a full month even though he's with me 50% of the time and it doesn't count, and this is not toxic. If the custody agreement was cordial, then this is co-parenting as possible. And then this was the one that really made me think we need to do a reply because this person said, does the fiance love the child? Does the kid have fun? Is he fed, well bathed, help with homework? If so, then what's the issue? And then somebody said the issue is because it's dad and the kid's time, and if dad's not there, then why is the
That's
kid
always
there?
my concern. Like that's always my thing. It's like it's supposed to be for dad.
Yeah, and so like that was the conversation that I wanted to have is like I have I have kind of varying perspectives on it because I really can see both sides of
Agreed.
kind of the theories behind it, right?
Agreed.
And then but aside from the theories, there's the practicality of it, right? Like in terms of a right of first refusal and how a right of first refusal works, like, which at the end of the day, that's what all of this comes down to, right? Like, if one parent needs childcare, the court's going to make both parents pay, period.
Right.
But aside from that situation, for me, it's like, is it good to have a right of first refusal? Is it not good to have a right of first refusal? And like, why ever would it be okay for your kid to be with stepmom instead of with you when you're available? So I just wanted to know, you and I have not actually had this conversation, and I want to know what your thoughts are about it.
So, I mean, I have so many different examples in my head because, and to answer the last piece, part of having a good, meaningful relationship between the father and the child is also for the child to have a good, meaningful relationship with everyone else involved in that home, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, you as like the mom, you want your child to have a good relationship with stepmom, right? You
Well, you
want them,
should.
you
Yeah.
should, correct,
Yeah.
unless you're, you know,
Yeah. You should.
you should. But so the thing is, it's
If
like,
you're healed. If you're healed, you should.
I had so many examples. You should, because especially if you know that that woman is going to be around your child, is going to at times take care of your child, even if it's not for any extended period of time that would fall under the right of first refusal category, right?
Yeah.
Because like, let's say dad goes to the gym for an hour, right? He's gonna leave the child with
Yeah.
his wife, his fiance, his girlfriend, whatever. You want the child to feel comfortable. You want the child to be happy. And then it'd be crazy if you're like, oh, but no, drop the child off for an hour at my house while you go to the gym, and then you can come and pick her up and then take her back home. Like that is crazy. So
Well,
my
and
thought,
plus the other piece of that for me is, and I totally do get. If mom and dad don't get along, right? And I need to go to the gym and or I want to go out to dinner with friends or something for 4 hours. Now I've got to go take my kid to the house of the person that I don't like and I really don't want to have to interact with and drop
yeah.
them off and then come back a few hours later. It's just like it increases those interactions.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so I feel bad in that situation because like you, I can see both sides. Like I
Yeah.
can see both sides. And so I am of the opinion that you should allow them to spend some time. Now, there's a difference between that and dad working for 12 hours on a
Yeah.
12-hour shift and leaving the child with the fiance for 12 hours. Because I do understand the concept of it's supposed to be your time sharing. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be time sharing with any other human.
That's what I was gonna say. I started talking about this as a right of first refusal, but really they are different because a right of first refusal is really like a one-off kind of thing, right? It's not like what you're doing every day. And this situation I posted about is more like an everyday thing. This is like mom's available to pick up at 3:30 every day, dad's not, and so dad wants the kid in aftercare so that he doesn't have to go to mom's after school or something like that.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, but then like I've always been, okay with the idea of like kids staying in aftercare. I know that that drives some people crazy. Like my kids aren't in aftercare, thankfully, because I just don't need it, right? Like,
Yeah.
but there are parents out there who need it because they, have strict
Yeah.
schedules and they need to leave. And I've never had a problem with that. I think the kids can benefit from aftercare. My son is like, "Hey, can I stay in aftercare with all my friends? Like, can you just
Yeah.
leave me there one day?" So I know there's also that, oh, I'm not leaving my kid in aftercare. I don't feel that way. I don't think that aftercare is that big of a deal. The kids can socialize. It's going to be their same friends. So I also don't have an issue with that concept. And I also think it's so much back and forth. Like today's dad's day, but I'm going to go to mom's for 2 hours and then dad's going to have to come pick me up from mom. And I always think about the exchanges and the pickups and the drop-offs, and I like limiting that interaction between the parents as much as possible. Because if you are in this situation where you don't want the girlfriend to even be with your kid for
Yeah.
an hour, then clearly you're not having good, friendly
Yeah,
co-parenting
exactly.
relationships anyway. So, does the child need to see
Yeah.
the negative interaction between dad showing up at 5 o'clock when he gets out of work at mom's house so that mom can like say something rude to dad or dad can say something rude to mom, and then it's like that awkward like send the kid out the front door and mom stays inside and dad's
Yeah.
outside. Like kids feel all that. Kids feel
Plus
the
it
tension.
puts you like all in the other person's business too, right? Because like if mom's available after school, so mom picks up, now dad has to go pick up from mom. If dad has a date or he's late or something's going on, he's having to communicate that to mom, which is just more possibility for arguments. And the other thing that I think that does not get taken into consideration by parents a lot, and judges do take it into consideration, is it, especially when, like, let's take fiance out of it, right? Because this post was about a fiance. But say that this is dad's new wife who's available after school and she has children with him too. So this kid has siblings, right? So this child going home with stepmom is not just the child spending time with stepmom, it's the child also spending time with the siblings and in dad's general home environment, whether dad is there or not,
Yeah.
and there's a benefit to that. I see this happen. I know that you have thoughts to weigh in on this, some of which might even range from personal experiences. But I also see in Hispanic families a lot where extended family is very, very involved. It's actually also true in the South. I say Hispanic because we're in Florida, but I grew up in the South and it's very customary there too. Like my mom is like a second mother to my children. And if we got a divorce and I now am separated from Henry, they would, of course, they're going to spend time with her when I'm there and available, but they also get a ton of benefit from spending time with her when I'm not there, and she helps out a lot when I'm not around. And for me, I think about that a lot because grandparents obviously don't have rights in Florida, but if you're the parent and you want to make a choice for your time to be spent with your parents instead of with you, then that's your choice in parenting, right?
So I have incredibly strong opinions about the whole like grandparents being involved on so many
I
levels.
bet
Like
you do. I
so
bet you
so
do.
so many. So I'm actually purposes of this, I'm actually going to just talk about my own situation. But like kids have so many benefits being with the grandparents. I mean, I just can't say enough. And family support in general, right? Like, I think that there should always be an exception for grandparents, like especially grandparents who have been involved since day one, are loving, and, frankly, spoil your kids, right? Like, your kids need to be
Yeah.
loved and spoiled by their grandparents. Like to me, it's a part of growing up is to be loved by a grandparent. I was like my grandma's favorite, right? Out of everyone, I was
Yeah.
her favorite. Like she loved me. She would pick me up, she would drop me off, like while my parents were working. Like I had a very close relationship with my grandmother, and she spoiled me. And like I think that made me, like love her so much. And like I have someone besides my parents that I can go to for things, for guidance, for
Hmm.
trust. Like I remember there were so many times where like I couldn't tell my parents something I did, but I like ran and told my grandmother, right? And she made sure that I was okay. Better me talking to my grandmother than some kid at school who's gonna not give me good advice,
Yeah.
right? So I think there's so many layers to that. And I think that there should be exceptions in parenting plans.
And that
When
was
you
your mom's choice, by the way. Like, right? It's your mom's choice when she had, not that your parents were divorced. I'm just saying, like, in
Yeah, yeah,
general,
yeah.
this
But my
is
parents
your
were
mom's
working. Both my
choice.
parents were working,
Right.
both of them.
And
So
it's her choice of where she wants you to be when during her time with you. And so I think that that is something that like doesn't necessarily get taken into consideration. And parents, grandparents really, I do think that under Florida law that there should be more consideration of extended family. Remember that case that I had, was that I was the guardian on this case. A couple of years ago, there was a mom and dad got a divorce, and they had like dad had like every other weekend, and mom had the majority of the time. And dad ended up getting remarried, having two other kids, and then getting a divorce from that woman as well. Um, and the mom and the daughter's relationship like blew up. They started
yeah.
having just tons of problems. The little girl was like 12, I want to say. And so the little girl actually like basically told her dad, "You've got to get me out of here. Like this is torture, it's hell, like I
Yeah.
can't stay living with mom anymore." So dad then filed a petition for mod and emergency motions and all of this stuff to try to get the little girl out. Well, so then I got appointed. So it turns out that the mom's mom, so the mom's mom, they had a lot of money. They did very well for themselves.
Okay.
And the mom and her own mother had like a super enmeshed codependent relationship for like most of this kid's life. But at some point in time, like, I don't know, maybe when the kid was like 8 or 9, post mom and dad getting a divorce, mom and her mother started having problems. Like they were not
Problems.
seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
Mom felt like grandma was like stepping on her toes, not honoring boundaries. Grandma felt like mom is not kind to the child and that her discipline tactics were like not okay and was getting involved. So this grandma, probably because she was smart, she actually reached out to the dad
Dad, I
and
knew you were
developed,
going to say that. That's smart. That's what you want to
yeah,
do.
yeah. And she ended up developing a relationship with dad because mom had cut her off from from seeing the child during mom's time, and mom was the majority parent. So what was happening was when the kid was going to dad's like every other weekend, dad was allowing the child to spend time with grandma. So of course when we end up back in court, mom is like, "Dad wants this extra time, but every time he gets it, he has her around my mom. And I should be the one making the decision if she's around my mom or not around my mom." And for me as the guardian, I like on one level, yes, you're the mom and you should be deciding if your child is spending time with your mother or not. But on the other level, this grandma had been very, very, very involved in this child's life for her whole life. Like she literally had lived with her grandma for points. Grandma picked her up 3, 4 days a week from school until mom cut her off. And so for me, at the end of the day, I ended up saying to the judge, and the judge followed my recommendations, that I felt like grandma was a critical piece to this child's well being, and it was in her best interest to keep having a relationship with her grandma. And so, even though the mom wouldn't let it, the dad ended up letting it, and dad ended up getting 50-50, and they split time equally. And then, when she was with her dad, she spent time with her grandma too. But it was, she had to kind of go around it a back way. And I was happy that I got to have a say in it because I think it would have been a travesty for this little girl. Mom had like a personality disorder. And so I think like they're just always going to have issues between mom and this kid. And grandma filled those gaps for her that she needed from a mom. So
Yeah. I mean,
extended family matters.
I have so many thoughts about all of it. So, one of the things that I think of, and this is what I tell my clients, um, because I think of as an attorney, the point of the right of first refusal is one parent who is on their time sharing schedule cannot exercise the time, right? Like, cannot be with the child because of work, because of this, because of that. But that what you're telling me about the grandmother to me is no different than having the kids go on a play date with some kid, right? Like I get to choose what my kids do and who they socialize with. Like so if I want to set up a play date and they go with their friend to Chuck E. Cheese with a mom, that to me is not right of first refusal, nor is you saying during my time sharing, I'm going to have the grandmother spend some time, right? And I understand that there's always that like weird, like, well, how are we going to prove it? And what if he does it when he's
Yeah.
at work or
But
what?
and
Like, I
you can
understand all
take
that.
that a step further because that transitions into the conversation you and I have had and we've had with a lot of clients, especially Hispanic clients, about overnights because
Yeah,
that's like an overnight friend play date. You know, you go to grandma's, you spend the night overnight. And you and I've had this conversation. If we were co-parents, like if you and I were co-parenting children together, we would be having it the fuck out about
we would.
those kinds of
100%.
things because I'm like totally on board for my kids to go spend the night somewhere and at a friend's house. And you are not. And if we were
Nope.
co-parenting and I wanted our kid to go spend the night somewhere else, I can make that decision unless we have it in our parenting plan that it's not allowed.
Yeah, and I would be having like an aneurysm during your time sharing, and I would be like that crazy stalker co-parent, right? Who's like outside the house. Where is my child? Like they are staying at this friend's, so am I. Like I'm parked outside with like this is what's happening. Like I'm here, like
And you
because
would
I
be getting
can't.
calls from me as your lawyer that this is like not acceptable behavior
That's
and
fine.
you're really going
Call
to
the
look like a
cops.
crazy.
Call the cops. I'd be that crazy person. I would be that crazy person with a restraining order, the police, like knocking on my window.
Yeah.
Like that's what would happen with me because I'm not okay with overnights. My children have literally never spent the night with any other human being obviously besides my mom and dad, like no one, like they go on trips with my kids, my kids spend nights over there, like there's no concern. And I think that that is because obviously like the same conversation we loop back around, right? And how important it is for me that they have a relationship with the grandparents. Now in your situation, unless you could tell me that there was proof that that specific grandmother, the maternal grandmother, was like causing harm to the children, then I don't even know why we're having this conversation. I don't care if you're in an argument, right? The same way that dad can choose, same conversation, that they have a play date or that they spend an hour or two hanging out with the fiance
Yeah.
or the fiance's kids, right? They can all have a play date together, right? So unless that
Well,
a grandmother would cause harm,
the reason for the conversation was mom saying to the court, he wants more time. You shouldn't give him 50-50 because he wants more time, but he's going to take his time and give it to my mom. And the court's response was basically like, he wants more time. There has been a substantial change. We think it's in the kid's best interest to spend half the time with him. And if he wants to have her with grandma during his time, that's his choice. Which I think was the right outcome. But mom was shocked. I mean, she literally just thought that given that she could prove dad's work schedule and that the kid would be with her mom a lot, that it was a surefire win, and it was not.
yeah, yeah,
Well, there you have it. Tune back in another day, guys, for another conversation about family law drama.
yep, I love it.
All right, let me stop that recording.